In 1940, 85 German paratroopers captured a fortress defended by 1,200 soldiers. This daring raid, masterminded by Kurt Student, changed the face of modern warfare. Kurt Student, Hitler's paratrooper general, was a pioneer in airborne warfare, leading daring operations that once changed the face of combat. But like many of Hitler's generals, his story is a mix of success, failures, and moral dilemmas. In this video, we'll explore Student's early successes and examine his complex legacy and the price of loyalty in a brutal regime. Born on May 12, 1890 in Birkholz, Germany, Kurt Student came from a family with a modest background. Student embarked on a military career at an early age, enrolling in the Prussian army in 1910. Like many young officers of his generation, Student saw the First World War as his first real test. He served initially in the infantry, but found his true calling when he transferred to the Imperial German Air Service. A natural flyer, Student quickly became a distinguished pilot, flying reconnaissance missions before transitioning to fighter aircraft. As Nazi Germany began to rearm under Adolf Hitler's regime in the 1930s, Student was appointed to a critical role in the development of the Luftwaffe. With the rise of military aviation came new ideas about how air power could be utilized, not just to dominate the skies, but to influence ground warfare. Student became one of the foremost advocates for the creation of airborne assault forces, or Fallschirmjäger. This was a radical idea at the time. Student believed that specially trained paratroopers, deployed deep behind enemy lines, could seize strategic objectives such as bridges, airfields, and fortifications. In theory, this would create chaos among the enemy ranks, disrupting their defenses and allowing conventional forces to sweep in more easily. Under Student's leadership, the Luftwaffe created the 7th Air Division, the first German airborne unit. These elite troops trained intensively in parachuting, glider landings, and other techniques for airborne assaults. Student's belief in the potential of airborne operations as a game-changer for modern warfare would soon be put to the test. In May 1940, his paratroopers prepared for an unprecedented assault on Belgium's Eben-Emael fortress. The fortress of Eben-Emael stood as a formidable obstacle to the German invasion of Belgium, protecting 3 key bridges on the Albert Canal. It was central to the Allied defense strategy. The Belgians considered the fortress to be impregnable, with 1,200 well-armed soldiers ready to fend off any typical assault. However, Kurt Student and his team devised a strategy that was anything but conventional. Student's plan centered on the innovative use of gliders, a tactic that would exploit the element of surprise to devastating effect. Under the cover of darkness, 10 DFS-230 gliders, each carrying highly trained Fallschirmjäger, would silently descend upon the fortress. This approach allowed the German forces to bypass traditional defenses and land directly atop the fortification, catching the defenders completely off guard. On May 10, 1940, the operation commenced. As dawn broke, the Belgian defenders found themselves under attack from within their own stronghold. The 85 German paratroopers, led by Oberleutnant Rudolf Witzig, quickly secured key positions and neutralized the fortress's main guns. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the German forces' precise planning and execution allowed them to effectively paralyze the Belgian defenses. The success of the Eben-Emael operation was nothing short of remarkable. Within hours, the German paratroopers had accomplished their primary objectives, paving the way for ground forces to cross the Albert Canal. This swift victory not only secured a critical crossing point for the invasion force, but also demonstrated the potential of airborne operations to alter the course of modern warfare. The capture of Eben-Emael had far-reaching consequences beyond the immediate tactical success. It significantly boosted Student's reputation as a military innovator and strategist. The operation showcased the effectiveness of airborne operations in overcoming seemingly insurmountable defenses, challenging conventional military wisdom of the time. Moreover, the success at Eben-Emael influenced military thinking well beyond Germany's borders. Allied powers, particularly the United States and Britain, took note of the operation's success and began to invest more heavily in their own airborne capabilities. The raid served as a proof of concept for the potential of vertical envelopment tactics in modern warfare. For Kurt Student, the success at Eben-Emael was the result of years of planning and hard work. His idea that airborne forces could change the way wars were fought was proven right in an impressive way. The Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross awarded to Student following the operation was a testament to the high regard in which his achievements were held by the Nazi leadership. The success of the Eben-Emael operation also had immediate strategic implications for the German invasion. With the fortress neutralized, German armored divisions were able to advance rapidly across the Albert Canal, maintaining the momentum of their blitzkrieg tactics. This swift progress was crucial in the early stages of the campaign, allowing German forces to outmaneuver and overwhelm Allied defenses. However, not all of Student's airborne operations would be as successful or as celebrated. The triumph at Aben Emal had bolstered Student's reputation, but his next operation would test the limits of airborne warfare. Why did Hitler, after the invasion of Crete, suddenly prohibit large-scale paratrooper assaults? The answer lies in a costly victory that would reshape the future of German military strategy. Operation Mercury, the airborne invasion of Crete, began on May 20, 1941. It was Student's most ambitious and controversial operation to date, involving approximately 22,000 German troops, including 6,500 Fallschirmjäger. The plan called for the elite paratroopers to capture key airfields, paving the way for reinforcements to arrive and secure the island. However, the operation quickly ran into unexpected difficulties. The German forces were met with fierce resistance from British, Commonwealth and Greek defenders, who numbered around 42,000 troops. The element of surprise, which had been crucial to the success at Aben Emal, was largely lost. As the Fallschirmjäger descended from the sky, they were greeted by a hail of gunfire from the well-prepared defenders. The first day of the invasion proved critical, as German forces struggled to secure the targeted airfields. This failure to establish a foothold severely hindered the arrival of reinforcements, leaving the initial wave of paratroopers in a precarious position. Many troops were killed before they even reached the ground, a stark contrast to the swift and decisive action at Aben Emal. As the battle raged on, the cost in human lives became increasingly apparent. The German paratroopers suffered heavy casualties, with approximately 3,700 of the 22,000 troops involved being killed or wounded. This casualty rate of nearly 1 in 4 was a sobering reality check for the German High Command, who had become accustomed to the rapid and relatively low-cost victories of the Blitzkrieg. The fierce resistance encountered during the invasion frustrated Germany's military expectations of a swift victory. In response to this unexpected challenge, Student made a decision that would have far-reaching consequences. Under the orders of Hermann Göring, Student initiated a series of severe retaliations against the local population, such as the infamous massacre of Condamari and the razing of Candanos. These actions resulted in the deaths of approximately 180 civilians and would later form the basis for war crimes charges against Student. Despite the high cost, German forces eventually succeeded in capturing Crete. Hitler, shocked by the high casualty rates and the near failure of the mission, prohibited future large-scale airborne operations. This decision effectively marked the end of the Fallschirmjäger's role as an independent strike force, relegating them to more conventional infantry duties for the remainder of the war. In 1943, Student instructed Major Harold Moores to orchestrate Operation Oak, a daring mission aimed at rescuing Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. The operation was notably executed by a unit of Fallschirmjäger who utilized gliders and STOL, or short takeoff and landing aircraft, to land strategically on a hilltop. For his involvement and successful planning of the mission, Student was awarded the Oak Leaves to the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. As the war progressed, Student's role shifted from pioneering paratrooper tactics to more conventional military duties. He served as commander of the 1st Parachute Army during the Allied invasion of Normandy in 1944 and later led Army Group G in the Netherlands. Despite these significant responsibilities, Student's wartime actions, particularly those during the Battle of Crete, would soon come under intense scrutiny. In May 1945, with Germany's defeat imminent, Student was captured by British forces. His arrest marked the beginning of a legal process that would examine the darker aspects of his military career. The focus of the investigation centered on the events that unfolded during and after the invasion of Crete in 1941. In 1947, Student faced a military tribunal in Lüneburg, Germany. The charges against him were grave, encompassing war crimes relating to the mistreatment and murder of prisoners of war during the Battle of Crete. The prosecution presented evidence of brutal reprisals against the local Cretan population, actions that had been ordered in response to fierce resistance encountered during the invasion. Student was found guilty on 3 out of 8 charges concerning the treatment of prisoners. However, he was acquitted of crimes against civilians due to insufficient evidence. Student was sentenced to 5 years in prison, a relatively light punishment considering the severity of the charges. However, his time behind bars would be cut short. In 1948, after serving only 1 year, Student was released early due to medical reasons. This early release was not uncommon in the aftermath of World War II, as many former military leaders saw their sentences reduced or commuted. Kurt Student died in 1978. He was the last surviving Luftwaffe Generaloberst. Kurt Student played a significant role in World War II as a military leader who promoted the use of airborne forces, which went on to shape modern combat strategies. His early achievements with paratroopers demonstrated their ability to secure quick victories when used effectively. However, his legacy is complicated by his connection to several atrocities committed under his command. His involvement in operations that led to civilian deaths, especially in Crete, has damaged his reputation. While his military innovations have had a lasting impact on post-war armies, his association with the Nazi regime's crimes adds a layer of moral complexity to his story, highlighting the challenging balance between strategic brilliance and the ethical implications of warfare. Well, that was it. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this video informative. If you enjoyed learning about today's topic, make sure to check out our video about Hermann Bulk, the forgotten Panzer General. It's a fascinating look into the life and military strategies of one of World War II's most skilled and yet overlooked commanders. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more World War II content. And we'll see you in the next one.